As somebody who was on the floor of the Senate on January 6th, when the insurrectionists broke in and trashed our Capitol, when the insurrectionists didn't give a hoot whether you were a Democrat or Republican. They were out for blood, whether it was for the Vice President or the Speaker of the House. And the feeling that day amongst all of us, or virtually all of us, was that this violation of our Capitol needed to come to an end, and those who were responsible needed to be held accountable. And I was, very proud of the majority leader's statement after the second impeachment trial, where he called out appropriately Donald Trump for helping light the fuse for that insurrection. So I was bitterly disappointed that the idea of a bipartisan commission, equal number Democrats, Republicans, I believe it ought to have equal ability to hire staff. This ought to be played completely straight so that we could get the answers. And yes, we ought to get it done this year so it doesn't bleed into next year's campaigns. Would be the right way to handle this. There are still so many questions that are unanswered. There are still questions about what the Republican leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy, said or didn't say to Donald Trump as he pleaded with him to call off the dogs. And I think that can be best served with an independent commission. So will we practically get to the 60 votes? Probably not. I think we still ought to go on the record as to where you stand on having an independent commission, since so many of these members in the days right after January 6th said they were all for it. I'm not sure what's changed other than the fact that of fear of Donald Trump. But if we don't get an independent commission, I sure as heck hope that the appropriate committees in the Senate will finish their investigations. There are questions that we who work up here on Capitol Hill deserve the answers, but more importantly, there are questions that the American people deserve the answers to, and it ought to be done in an independent, nonpartisan, bipartisan, whatever you want to call it, way, so that one, we know what happened, two, we can be better protected from it happening again, and three, one of the things I think this country has to grapple with is the rise of domestic violent extremists on both ends of the political spectrum, but disproportionately coming from white supremacists, is a grave national threat to our security in this country. And we ought to acknowledge that the same way that Canada, the UK, Germany, and Norway have acknowledged that in their countries, their biggest threat to internal security is the rise of right-wing white supremacist groups. We've had the FBI say that as well. I don't think it's gotten near the attention, and we ought to be approaching that, again, I hope in a bipartisan way, and I think the independent commission would have given us that mechanism.